Welcome back to the Wizard Shop, and today is all about Chevy Silverados. Let's get started. So this is a 2008 Chevy Silverado 4x4, and today we're going to talk about LS swapping this beautiful truck.
It basically has an LS in it already.
It already has one in it?
There's no need to LS swap.
Well, it's not actually an LS engine is what they say on the comments section. It's a derivative of an LS motor. So this is like LQ, not L. I mean, they have all kinds of codes. This one's not a true LS2 or LS3.
It's basically an LS.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
then.
it's an LS.
So you guys, this is Crazy D in the office. He also has a YouTube channel, Crazy D's Equipment. There'll be a link in the description below. If you're into tractors, farm equipment, and all those types of things, going to auctions, estate sales for equipment, you definitely need to check out his channel. So don't miss out on that. We're going to borrow your truck and show everybody this is the truck they should buy. Quit buying the other trucks.
All right. Don't hurt my truck.
All right, go take a break.
Taking a break.
All right. So like I said, this is a 2008 Chevy Silverado. And the purpose of this video today is to show you guys, actually show you the truck you should buy. I get emails all the time about what truck should I buy? I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. This is it. So we're going to take a look around this truck and show you guys why you should buy this truck. But first, let's check it out. So you can tell that Crazy D approves of this truck, and he loves this truck because he's already marked it with his Case International Harvester tag. He loves Case tractors. He was in the market for a while looking for a truck, looking at the 3-valve Triton, guys, the 5.4. I told him, no, do not buy that engine. Do not buy anything with that engine. He will be buying another one soon. He finally, in his search, found this one. It is very nice. It's in good shape. He got a good deal on it. I'm not sure exactly the price he paid. But since he's been working here, he's been making good pay, and he decided now's the time to get a nice truck. This truck is Car Wizard approved, and it also is pretty much damage-free. There's little scuffs and scrapes here and there in the paint, but it is a truck after all. Got nice new tires on it. It's not caved in or dented anywhere. And I really like the style of this year 2007, 8, 9, 10 trucks. I really don't care for the newer ones. This is my favorite right here. I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood. So here we have the 5.3 liter LS based engine. No, it is not a true LS. But I guarantee you this, I can take the heads off of this one and swap them with an LS motor, and they will identically bolt up. So will the intake, the water pump, the starter, the valve covers, the accessories, in fact, everything. This one does have active fuel management, and the way you can tell is underneath the intake there is a metal aluminum plate, and it looks like a maze, like the movie Labyrinth. You guys remember the movie Labyrinth? Do you, Mrs. Wizard?
I do. That's a great movie.
Yeah, it looks like a labyrinth. A bunch of little paths that you can take. On a non-active fuel management engine, that plate is flat, completely smooth. Now that is a downfall of these engines. They are problematic if they're not maintained, and the heads do have to come off if something goes wrong with the lifters or something gets damaged with the cam. It is a big deal. But it is fixable. You don't have to buy a whole new engine to fix it. Luckily this one works very well. There's no issues with it. Let's take a look at some things on this engine and why I really love it. Look at the big gap between the water pump and the radiator. There's tons of room to work on this car. If you have to replace the water pump, you take the belt off and maybe a few accessory brackets or things here or there, and it comes right off. No fighting with a fan or thermal clutch or anything like that. It doesn't even have one. It has electric fans. It's also very easy. Right here is the tensioner pulley. You literally can just get a wrench, a standard wrench, loosen that up and take the belt off. You can see those bright red spark plug wires. I'm not sure why they bought bright red ones, but The coils, the plugs, and the wires are all easily accessible on this engine. Very easy to get to. When it comes time, you do take the spark plug wires off the spark plugs. They usually break. They usually come apart. So plan on, if you're going to do plugs, go ahead and plan on doing the wires too, because they're going to break. I'll go ahead and take this shield off the top. Here we can see our injector fuel rail. There's one on each side. The injectors are very easy to get to. If there's any issues with those, it is not a problem to replace them at all. Here's our throttle body. If there's issues with that, 4 bolts, it comes right off. These engines are extremely easy to work on. Once we get this thing in the air from the underneath, I'll show you some more instances of how this engine is so easy to work on. Actually, Junior Mint has worked lately on a few Ford trucks. In fact, the Lightning F-150 that was in here, the red one, you guys saw a video on that. And he actually commented to me, he said, "Car Wizard, I never thought it would be, but this engine is so much harder to work on than one of these LS-based motors. It takes literally 3 times longer to do everything on there than it does on the LS motor." I said, yes, that's why I keep telling people to buy one. Especially if you fix your own vehicles, you do minor maintenance or minor repairs yourself. These engines are a cakewalk. I mean, they're literally, to an experienced mechanic, they can almost work on these engines blindfolded. They're that easy. Let's go ahead and take a look at the interior.
Hey ladies, gents. So as always, we do start here at the gauge cluster, and this does have 223,000 miles. You hear that right, 200,000 miles. But it doesn't look like it. It really is in great shape. Now there's some areas of concern. As you see up here, it does have a dash mat, and we're not going to take that off. It does have a really big dash, and it doesn't surprise me much that it could have cracked. But the windshield, the glass is in really good shape. The front dash is in great shape as well. It does have a two-tone, has a kind of a black, charcoal black, and a ivory interior. It does have leather seats, and it does have enough seating for 6. It is bench seats in the front and in the back. And you can tell he's a YouTuber too. There's his camera equipment. We pan up, you'll see headliner is in really good shape. So for even having 200,000 miles on this, it's in really good shape. There's no tear in the leather. The steering wheel has a bit of a cover over it, but again, not going to take that off because this actually works for what he needs it for. It's much nicer than the standard farm trucks that we see a lot of people driving around here in Kansas. Otherwise, let's get this up in the air. This is looking really good, Wizard.
So now I'm going to show you guys from the bottom side why these are such great trucks and they're so easy to work on. Let's take a look. So it is missing a plastic shield here, but right above that is our radiator and condenser, and we can see it's not leaking. But look at the front of the engine, guys. You can access everything on the front of the engine without fighting, without cursing, without throwing hammers across the shop. It's very peaceful to work on one of these. Here's the AC compressor and this little tensioner and belt, which usually fail. The belt's easy to get to, the power steering pump. Let's check the brakes. Brakes are good, nothing loose there. Here's our CV shaft, the boots look good. Got struts on it. Looks like they're fairly new. Looks like someone's put an undercoating under here, which is good. Steering rack's nice and dry. Nice and dry over here too. CV boots look good. Sway bar links are intact. Brakes look good. Nothing loose. Both struts, again, look fairly new. They're not leaking. They've been replaced recently. We move back to here and we can see a common leak point. These 2 little bolts right here is where an oil cooler can mount, and if an oil cooler is not being used, they put a cap over it. Those always leak, and all this oil seepage is coming from that. It's an easy fix. We'll take care of that probably for Crazy D so he doesn't have to worry about it. But that right there frequently leaks, and mechanics mistake it for a rear main seal. And it is not a rear main seal leak. It does have some braided steel lines for the transmission cooler lines. I imagine the cooler lines leaked at one point and they just upgraded to some braided steel ones. Here's our exhaust. Here's our 4L60E transmission. Drive shaft and U-joint's good. Here's our transfer case. This is an auto 4-wheel drive one. It's nice and dry. If any issues with that or if something's wrong, it's easy to take the bolts off and it just slides right off. It's very easy to get to. Here's our ABS control module. Again, great access. And here's a nice beefy drive shaft.
He is very impressive.
Yes. He's the talk of the party. All right. No leaks on the differential. New Rancho shocks in the back. It does have some sort of aftermarket calipers and rotors in the back. Not too sure why. Maybe they had issues with the rear calipers. Here's our exhaust. Everything looks good there. Spare tire. Brakes are good over here. Nothing loose. Brand new shocks. Everything looks pretty good under here, Mrs. Wizard.
Yeah, it does. This is a good truck for him.
Yep. We'll go ahead and get it back on the ground.
Okay, Car Wizard. So you've given everybody lots of reasons to buy this truck if they're a mechanic, but what if they're not a mechanic? Why does it make a difference?
There's a very good answer for that. One thing to remember is when you take your car to the mechanic, the amount you pay is not always going to be based on the book time or the parts prices. It can also be emotionally driven. Why don't you pan over to the yellow car, Mrs. Wizard? If you call a mechanic and say, I need major work on this car, they already know they're going to be cursing. They already know they're going to get really pissed off working on the car. The price just went up. You bring one of these into the shop, from prior experience, the mechanic says, oh, those are easy to work on. Yeah, it costs this much. We'll be reasonable with you. No problem. They don't foresee any trouble, any anger, any really raging moments working on this. So emotions can affect your price. So those are the reasons why I really recommend one of these trucks, 2007, 8, 9. Not only is it easy to work on for someone who does their own work, but it also can result in much lower repair bills when you have to take it to the shop. I've personally owned several vehicles with this engine in them, and I'm always amazed every single time when I have to do any repairs on them. After I get the job done, I put my tools away and I'm like, I didn't even get my heart rate up. That was so simple. And that's why, from experience, I'm telling you guys, this is the ticket. Now, Toyota trucks are also very good. They can be a little bit more difficult to work on. They have a much better reliability track record as compared to these, but they're also going to be probably 50% more to buy one. I always run into that when customers say, what truck should I buy? I tell them a Toyota is the best. They say, we looked at some of those and they were wanting gold bars as the price, and we don't have gold bars. So this is the ticket right here. This thing has over 220,000 miles on it. I know of several I have worked on at shops that I've worked in previous that were approaching, and one even exceeded 400,000 miles. So there's a lot of life left in this engine if it's maintained properly. So to get it that far, make sure you do your oil changes around 5,000 miles on time, transmission service. Make sure you keep up on anything that's going wrong with shock, suspension, the exhaust. If there's any check engine lights with misfires or anything going on, don't just run it that way and damage your engine. Take care of it. Maintain the engine. It will last a long time. And also keep it clean. Don't let it get gunked up with crap all over the engine. It really can start causing trouble. So make sure you also clean the undercarriage when you go to the car wash. Don't just clean the top. Clean the bottom. All the gunk and dirt and rocks and things that are caught underneath. Clean that stuff out. It actually can help the longevity of all the components of the truck. This one's dusty and dirty, but it is not ill-maintained and has not been abused and is not caked with, as you saw, gunk and grease and stuff underneath. It's actually fairly clean on the bottom. When I work on a vehicle and I see that it's clean and maintained on the bottom as well as the top and the interior, I know that the customer probably has been maintaining the entire vehicle pretty well. So that's a good key indicator as well. And I can be assured that this one's going to be maintained very well because Crazy D owns this car and his son is Junior Mint. Junior Mint is Crazy D's son, and he's actually a very good mechanic. So I don't have any issue whether this is going to be maintained or not. I know it will be. So if you're curious what kind of tools we use in the shop and to work on this one as well, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. Also click the link for Crazy D's equipment, which will also be in the description below to get some tractor action going on. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we got many, many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.